Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for tuning in. So, there's been some videos going around out there of bands that the poster hates. I saw this on first with the Prog Corner, and then Canadian Stud Muffin did it. I'm not sure if anyone else has jumped on the bandwagon or not, but I'm going to jump on the bandwagon, and I'm going to give you the 10 bands that I hate. And hate might be a bit of a strong word. Dislike. Strongly dislike. These are maybe my 10 least favorite popular bands in rock or metal. However you want to put it. And I'm sure that there are going to be fans of these bands who come across my video. If you like any of these bands, more power to you. I'm glad you do. They're just not for me. So, coming in at number 10. And this is a bit of a placeholder, I guess. I think this band is sort of representing a lot of different bands, but this is one of the more famous bands of this type of music. I'm going to go with Slayer. I like Metallica, I like Megadeth. I really don't have much opinion on Anthrax one way or the other. But Slayer is the one of the big four of thrash metal that I just didn't find that particularly appealing. And once you get into like Slayer and some of these other like heavy metal, death metal, black metal, doom metal, whatever you want to call it, I'm really not into that stuff. So Slayer is kind of representing a lot of that to me. I like some classic metal bands. I like Judas Priest, I like Iron Maiden, I like Metallica, stuff like that. Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Disturbed, even if you want to go like newer. So there are metal bands that I like, but I think once you get into like the Slayer territory and heavier than that, and the genres that are heavier than that, I'm not really a big fan of it. So Slayer is a bit of a placeholder. I don't necessarily have anything bad to say about Slayer themselves, but they're just kind of a band that I don't really find appealing, and they're kind of representing the heavier end of metal that I don't really find that appealing. Coming in at number 9, I'm going to go with Hinder. A lot of people would include Nickelback on a list like this. Spoiler alert, I don't have Nickelback on my list, because I do think Nickelback has some good songs to go with a lot of really bad ones. Hinder's the one that used to really irritate me, though. They were from that same era. They weren't as big as Nickelback, but for a year or two, you couldn't really go far without hearing a Hinder song on the radio, like Lips of an Angel, or Better Than Me. You Deserve Much Better Than Me. Yeah. I didn't like those songs at all. I was with some friends one time that they played that whole album, that big one of theirs, whatever it's called. I didn't like it at all. The only song on it that I liked was Homecoming Queen. That's like the only Hinder song that I can do. I think that's a good song. There's another one, like How Long, I think it's called, is okay. The rest of it, Get Stoned, eh. And then they put out an album after that wasn't as big. I didn't really find appealing. I don't know how many more albums they put out after that. I tried like the next album or two to get into them, I guess, a little bit, and just, they're just not for me. I just don't care for them. So, aside from Homecoming Queen, I really can't stand Hinder. So, number 9 is Hinder. Number 8, I'm going to go with Kid Rock. I don't get the appeal. He doesn't know if he wants to be rock or country or metal or rap or whatever. And he's not, I don't think he's particularly good at any of it. And I have no problem with somebody who wants to experiment with their sound and try other genres, but with Kid Rock, to me, it always came across as disingenuous. Plus, half of his hits are like remakes of other popular songs, which, I mean, I guess there's an artistry to that, but just, And I don't really like Kid Rock himself either. He always rubs me the wrong way, so I gotta put Kid Rock on my list at number 8. Number 7, I'm gonna go with Maroon 5. This is also another sort of placeholder for a lot of these modern rock bands that aren't really rock bands. You know, Imagine Dragons is another one that comes to my mind, but I kind of feel like Maroon 5 and Adam Levine are shoved down my throat far more often than Imagine Dragons, so I'm gonna put them here. There's not a single Maroon 5 song I've ever heard that I liked, and I don't even know the names of all their songs, but the one about Moves Like Jagger irritates the hell out of me. Gosh, I don't even know what other songs are. I know I don't like them. And some of them are like right on the tip of my tongue too, but they're irritating. They're sort of the poster child for some of these modern rock bands that aren't really truly rock bands. So there you go. Kind of like Slayer, Maroon 5 is going to be a placeholder for that sort of modern rock, but it's not really rock music. Coming in at number 6, I'm going to go with Motley Crue. Not really ever been a big fan of Motley Crue. I have tried many times actually to get into this band, and it has never worked. I love the song Dr. Feelgood. That song is awesome. Their first album, I kind of like it. It's God, what's it called? Too Fast for Love. Not a bad album. Not my favorite album in the world, but not a bad album. I think there's some decent songs on there. Livewire, Public Enemy #1's really cool. So you got some stuff on there that I like. Beyond that, like even their 80s stuff, Shout at the Devil, does nothing for me. I don't hate it, but I don't really like it either. Same thing with Theater of Pain. I think Girls, Girls, Girls is really not, I don't know. I don't like the song. I don't like the album. Dr. Feelgood, aside from the title track, I don't like that album. Anything beyond that is borderline not listenable to me. Except for their newest one, Saints of Los Angeles, I think is the best album they've done since the 80s. But even that, whatever. I don't really like, again, this is another one, I don't really like the band that much either. Like, Mick Mars is the only member that I even kind of like. Vince Neil, I don't really, he kind of rubs me the wrong way. Same with Nikki Sixx, same with Tommy Lee. They just always rub me the wrong way. Not fans of them, not fans of the music. I love many of their contemporaries from that early hair metal scene. Rat, Twisted Sister, gosh, Van Halen if you want to put them in there. But just Motley Crue has been one that I have never really been able to get that into. Coming in at number 5, we're going to go with Limp Bizkit. I could have put a number of those rap, rock, new metal bands on this list, but to me, Limp Bizkit is far and away the worst one. I'm not a fan of like your Linkin Parks or your Korns or anything like that, but they don't rub me the wrong way like Limp Bizkit does. Fred Durst is another one. I just don't really like him that much. Their music feels very juvenile to me. Break stuff. I remember being in middle school and people would quote songs like Break Stuff and Nookie all the time and Rollin', and it's like, that's probably why it took me so long to get into early 2000s music. It's probably why I didn't enjoy bands like Stained and Breaking Benjamin and Shinedown and System of a Down when they were popular, because Limp Bizkit was what kids around me in school were quoting, and I thought it was horrible. And I don't know. My buddy Sean, when we worked together, we had a Limp Bizkit album at work, and it was, I don't know what it was. It was the one that had the Break Stuff and Nookie, I think, on it. God, and it was terrible, man. I mean, he enjoyed it, so I let him play it. He listened to the CDs that I played all the time, so I had to let him play it. But my gosh, I didn't like it. I'm not a Limp Bizkit guy at all. Number 4, pardon the noise. I need to have some airflow in here, so I have the window cracked a little bit. But number 4, I'm gonna go with Bush, one of my least favorites from the 90s. More or less, their music just has always bored me. Glycerin, Swallowed, Breathe In, Breathe Out. What's that song called? Machine Head? Whatever. That one's okay, I guess, but the other ones bore me to death. I bought Razor Blade Suitcase once at a thrift store. I thought I was gonna like really enjoy it, and it wound up being one of the most boring alternative rock, grunge, 90s rock albums I've ever attempted to listen to, and to this day I still cannot get into Bush. I still do not like their music at all. Coming in at number 3, I'm gonna go with Green Day. Here's another one that I don't really like Billie Joe Armstrong that much. I don't really have a problem with bands that are political. I only really have a problem when it becomes preachy. And to me, Green Day and Billie Joe Armstrong are one of those groups that are kind of preachy about their politics. My favorite band, Bon Jovi. John is very active politically campaigning for the Democrats. He always has, as long as I've been a fan. But he never comes across as preachy to me. There's guys on the other side of the equation that are conservatives that have never been preachy. I think Ted Nugent to me is a little irritating sometimes with it, but yeah, I don't. They're entitled to their opinion. That's perfectly fine. They're American citizens. They're allowed to do what they want. Advocate for what they want. It's a turn off to me when it gets to be too much. That's kind of how I feel about Billie Joe Armstrong. And even though there are Green Day songs I do like, there's a handful of them. There's Brain Stew, there's Basket Case, there's Warning, there's Know Your Enemy, 21st Century Breakdown, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. So there are a handful of Green Day songs that I actually do like. But for the most part, I don't find their music that appealing. Outside of the handful of tracks that they've put out over the years that I kind of dig. I don't really like them that much either. I'm not a big fan of the sort of punk rock, but not really punk rock thing that they do. Not crazy about their sound either. So, just a lot of things to me that work against Green Day. Not a terribly big fan. So, yeah, there are a few Green Day tracks that I dig, but overall, not a fan. Alright, so number 1 and number 2... I get flack for these in real life, so I can only imagine what the YouTube comment section is going to do to me when I say these. But these are very well-respected, very popular classic rock bands. A lot of people love them, and more power to you if you do. I'm sure I'll find more people than not that are big fans of these two bands. But for me, I just can't do it. I had a hard time deciding which one to put 1 and which one to put 2, because one of these bands I like about 5 songs from, but everything else is like nails on chalkboard to me. Whereas the other band just bores me. And I don't find anything nails on chalkboard, but I don't find anything that I like either. It's just all sort of bland and boring, and it does absolutely nothing for me. So if I was stuck on an island and I had to listen to one of these two catalogs to get off of it, I think I'd rather listen to the boring one, because at least I wouldn't be cringing the whole freaking time. That's Pink Floyd. Number 2, Pink Floyd. I'm not a fan. I even own Dark Side of the Moon, which I bought after I listened to it and knew I didn't like it. I bought The Wall. I've tried to get into Pink Floyd. Their music just does nothing for me. It's, like I said, it just kind of bores me. And I'm sure I'll get eaten up for that in the comment section. But, if you like Pink Floyd, more power to you. I have tried. I just don't get it. Number 1, Queen. I do not like Queen. Again, I am not denying the talent in the band. They are talented musicians. Freddie Mercury was a talented singer, a talented vocalist. I don't like the sound of his voice. Never have. I don't like the sound of their band. I don't like that operatic thing they got going for them. I don't like many of the songs. Like I said, there's 5 songs that I like. Tie Your Mother Down, We Will Rock You, Another One Bites the Dust, Under Pressure, and Keep Yourself Alive. Beyond those 5 songs, Radio Gaga is like nails on chalkboard to me. Bohemian Rhapsody. Yes, I don't like Bohemian Rhapsody. Sue me. Nails on chalkboard. Killer Queen. Bicycle Race. You're My Best Friend. Somebody to Love is my least favorite. Absolutely my least favorite. Every time that comes on, you might as well just stick 2 chalkboards in my ear and drag your nails right down them, because I don't like that song at all. I just can't do it. I had a friend in high school whose favorite band was Queen, and I knew very little of Queen at the time. Like, I knew the surface level stuff, but I decided to try and get into them, and so I downloaded a bunch of songs off good old LimeWire, and I just kept hitting song after song I didn't like, and was like, ugh. That came to a quick end. And then when I went into the workforce and we started listening to, classic rock radio and stuff at work all the time, and Queen would play all the time, and just it'd drive me insane. Sorry, I just don't like Queen. More power to you if you do. I'm sure there's plenty of Queen fans that are going to come across this. Glad you love them. By all means, enjoy them, but I just don't ask me to listen to it with you, because I'm not into it. So there's my 10 most hated, least favorite bands, whatever you want to say. I'm only using the term hated because of what the other videos that I saw have said, the most hated bands or whatever. So I would prefer to use the term my least favorite bands, or 10 bands I dislike or whatever. So 10 Slayer, 9 Hinder, 8 Kid Rock, 7 Maroon 5, 6 Motley Crue, 5 Limp Bizkit, 4 Bush, 3 Green Day, 2 Pink Floyd, and 1 Queen. Drop in the comments below popular bands that you don't like, and I'll catch you in the next video.